Good day and welcome to Rocket with Chief Conversations to Take You Places. I'm your host, Daniel Robus, and today we are joined by Stacey-Lee Bolon, FNB Commercial and Corporate Pricing and Billing, Wits University President and Chair of Convocation. We're going to get back to that because I have no idea what Convocation is. Stacey, you're a Joburg citizen through and through. You've been educated here, you've worked here, you've built a life. Why has Joburg got such a hold on you?
So firstly, hello, Dan, how are you? Thank you very much for having me on your podcast today, and hello to the listeners and viewers also. Why Johannesburg has such a hold on me? Johannesburg's a beautiful city. I love the pace. I love the professionalism of the people. I love the interest and the passion of the startup community that's there. While it certainly had a hold on me for a number of years, the remote working environment has definitely allowed me to spread my wings a little bit. And currently I'm actually joining you from Cape Town. We're here for 2 weeks. We need to get back to Joburg for a personal event that we need to attend to. But yeah, we've really had some fun whilst we've been indulging in the remote working opportunities, and we've been to some cool places.
That work from anywhere is so wonderful that we can do our jobs from virtually anywhere. You mentioned one of my favorite places in South Africa, Hogsback. Did you see all the waterfalls?
Yeah, so we were in Hogsback for about a week whilst we were doing a little working road trip through Hogsback, Eastern Cape, KZN. We saw all the waterfalls and it was beautiful. Truly one of the most beautiful places that I've ever been. So yeah, that was a exquisite opportunity.
It's just like time has forgotten about Hogsback. I can't rave about it enough. I had my best burger and my best beer of the year in December in Hogsback. So I'm so jealous that you got to spend a week there. While you're doing this working from anywhere, both yourself and your husband are in IT, in formal work. What is your essential IT kit that you have with you, apart from a Teams or a Zoom communication channel?
So we are a very connected duo, my husband and I. We've got a couple of pairs of wireless headset. We've got remote or Bluetooth keyboards. We've got Bluetooth mouses. We travel around with the number of screens. We have tablets that we're able to and go and work from coffee shops where necessary. We're connected on our smartwatches so we can see emails coming through. So we make sure that we are on the pulse. We may be working remotely, but that doesn't mean that there's any forgivingness on the work side. There's a lot of stuff that we need to get done, and we certainly prioritize ensuring that there's no drop in quality in that regard.
So you're seeing that people don't mind where you are, it's about what you do. And what I made a note, you're working remotely, but you plugged in virtually. So that's part of your mantra and what you bring to the team.
Sure, I think that in most instances, people have no idea where I'm working from. Similarly to, I don't really know where a lot of my team members are working from, typically from Johannesburg because of kids and having to be in school. So there's a lot more consistency required there. But we have the liberty of being a little bit more carefree and fancy free.
Yeah, those little rats tie us down. Damn it, I've got 2 of them and I could be traveling more. Stacey, when I read your LinkedIn profile and I see a couple of things about you, you seem to be a person who's not happy with surface level change, and you seem to have this thing, you want to impact lives and human connection being at the center. Venture Network, JoBox, Early is Best, all these companies and NGOs that you're involved in. How did you end up in commercial and corporate pricing and billing?
It's quite a conundrum because they do kind of seem like they're on the opposite ends of the spectrum, and I totally appreciate that. I think a big thing in me for life is ensuring that whatever it is that we do is filled with purpose. So to be a more typical banker, if you're making an investment, you're wanting a return on your investment. You have a limited amount of time that you have here on planet Earth. And I'm wanting to ensure that I'm getting that return. And for me, that return is working in places that give me meaning. So a lot of the work that I've done outside of the corporate space is obviously those that feed into something that's very core and central to who I am as a person. And what took me to the billing and pricing side of things is that I wanted to prove to myself that I could do something that was exceptionally technical. It was very complicated, very complex, working across, multiple segments, F&B commercial, R&B corporate, that looks at the whole systems and development life cycle from, business requests through to functional specs, through to testing, through to development, change management, training, comms, specialist pricing. And I work with the most phenomenal team that are just incredible at what they do. And I wanted to basically get stuck into something that was exceptionally technical.
Wow. Are you a methodology person, or are you a task-orientated kind of leader? Or where do you toe the line?
So I wish I was able to answer that question with more conviction than what I'm going to do. But I think it depends on the situation. Okay. I think where I'm most comfortable, and I don't know if you've ever come across something called a cognitive process profile or CPP. Okay.
Yeah.
But cognitive process profile basically looks at your areas where you're sitting most comfortably, and most comfortably where I am is kind of the orchestrator of things. I'm not a detail person. I don't have an appreciation for getting stuck into deep detail. I prefer to have a global understanding of what's going on and manage things. In certain instances, you have to have your finger on the pulse with detail. And in that instance, I switch gears very dramatically, and I can become quite obsessive around the small details. So a little bit of both, but my level of comfort is certainly in understanding the ecosystem and ensuring that everything's running smoothly.
Your poor husband. You're going to go from the big picture to the nitty gritty quite quick. Dude has to have his game on. That's pretty awesome.
He's a very agile guy. He says that he embraces me for all that I am, and he calls me sophisticatedly complex.
I love that. I love
it's beautiful. That. It's beautiful.
You're involved in a number of NGOs. You give a lot of your own time. Why do you think it's so important for a corporate person, a corporate leader like yourself, to be involved in NGOs as well? And do you?
So absolutely, I do. So likewise, I think that it's important for people in NGOs to have a view of what it's like to be in corporate, but it's important that a corporate individual knows what it's like to be part of an NGO. I think that it gives you a different perspective on life and on people. It gives you that ability to learn to understand how to look at things from a totally different perspective. It allows you to understand when someone says you need to be customer centric. What does that mean? If you've only ever functioned in a specific environment, it becomes very difficult to say, yes, I can try and be empathetic to understanding a different perspective. So I think that the benefit of a corporate person plugging into the NGO environment, number one, I think that there's quite a bit of confidence that comes into that space, because as much as we want to believe that the title doesn't mean very much, the title does. So when you're engaging in conversations, I find that it's a lot easier to leverage off of the corporate title, or whatever the biggest title that you're able to pull in, to be able to secure those conversations and get business going. I think that corporate allows a lot of structure, and we've taken a lot of lessons because you've interacted with so many different types of people that you've picked up these skill sets, whether you know it or not. You've picked up a whole bunch of skill sets that are exceptionally valuable when it comes to functioning in the NGO environment.
Awesome. I really think there's wisdom in there in being on both sides of the fence, just to understand also how do we cut through bureaucracy and being accountable to donors, to funders who are giving completely. There's very little that gets attention more than when people are giving you money out of their own pockets, and what are you doing with it?
Absolutely.
With this multiple role, multiple hats, how would your folks, your parents, describe what you do for a living?
I think that I've been a cause for confusion for my parents for very many years, inside the work environment and outside. I think that my parents understand what it is that I do. If you were to ask them, my parents are really my biggest fans, so they would say that I run the bank, or any other institution that I would represent. But my parents think that I'm very busy, and my mom always questions me on, are you spending your time wisely? A little bit more time out is key. So yeah.
Unplug, step away, and smell the roses. Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah.
Now we're going to take a big jump. You're a Witsy girl. You've been there, you've walked through the corridors, and now you're involved in something I still don't understand, which I hope you're going to explain to me. How has Wits changed from when you were a student to the institute it is today?
Yeah, super. So maybe first, it's important to just jump into the position that I plug into at Wits. So I studied at Wits for a good couple of years. I finished with 4 degrees from Wits. So when you say I'm a Witsy through and through, I really am. It runs through my veins. And I occupy a position called President of Convocation. And Convocation, as an executive structure, is the statutory body that represents graduates and academic staff in the interests of matters relating to the university.
Wow.
So we represent the largest constituency of the university, so that's about 250,000 graduates and academic staff. And the purpose of that is to ensure that we have a voice in all matters relating to the university, with the overall goal of ensuring that the reputation of the degrees that we hold are maintained and strengthened.
Okay. So as a parent, when I think about the arts degree that could go there, you would be responsible for making sure that the degrees, which are the BA, which is still relevant and could convince me to say this is a world-class degree that my daughter wants to study English should be studying.
Yeah, so we wouldn't get into the nitty-gritty details of operations and the stuff that's being taught within the degree, but it's all the decisions made from top management within the university, that we're making sure that everything is ticking the boxes and we're progressive and we're pushing innovation. So from a strategic perspective. This is a
full-time volunteer role.
Yeah.
How do you manage that and the bank?
Yeah, it's a tough one, but I think that it's a reliance on a very strong team. Okay. So number one, the team that I work with on the F&B side, I trust them implicitly. When they say they're going to do something, I trust the fact that they're going to do it. Okay. And when it comes to the Wits side of things, obviously that's a very time-consuming role that I'm in. But it's a lot of after-hours work. And there's items that I would basically outsource to a number of executive members that sit within the Exco of Convocation. So
so you have a team. Okay, cool.
Yeah. So there is a team that I work with.
What is the unique, Stacey, that you bring to this relationship at Wits? What do you think makes you different from the other leaders that are around you?
So I think that I'm probably quite a bit younger than a lot of the members that I work with. They're exceptionally esteemed. The sorts of individuals that are sitting within council, which is the governing body, which I also sit on, as well as the Convocation Exco, are just phenomenal people. But they typically are quite a bit older and definitely have a number of more runs on the scoreboard than I do. Yeah. So I think that I bring a bravery and a courage to be able to step into that position and hold my own. Okay. And perspectives around what the university needs to be from embracing startups as an example. Why is it that the universities are not playing a more active role within that environment?
Wow, amazing. If you had $100 million to spend on higher education and no red tape, what would your top 3 priorities be for 2022, 23, 24?
So I mean, it's a very difficult question to answer, because I would ask for a lot more than 100 million.
Oh my word! I thought I was shooting out the park there.
But I also think that it's a matter of money, and then it's a matter of not necessarily money. So one of the things that I'm very, very passionate about is understanding how the tertiary education space interacts with the startup community. Okay. There is a fortune of IP in the form of research that is generated within tertiary institutions. And then, students go off and work for the big corporates. And I mean, case in point. And there's a lot of IP that's left within the university. That's great. That's forming part of a body of work, and it's getting published. But what's happening with that stuff? So one of the big passion points of mine that I've been driving of late is understanding how we're able to tap into that environment and prompt and promote startup commercialization, emanating from a university environment where we are creating an ecosystem of really smart people sitting within the universities, guiding students who are really nice and plugged in from a diverse background. And understanding how we are able to build that up and pull in corporates and investors and VC funders, and just a big environment where we're able to create more opportunity, more innovation, more collaboration on the ground.
Wow, that is, I'm starting to realize something, and I probably shouldn't admit it as I'm the host here, but I almost had a question about, are you a humanitarian or you're a business leader? And you seem to be both rolled into one. It's very complex, and it's quite intimidating having this discussion with you, Stacey, because you look at it from so many different angles, and I want to thank you for that. What's your top tip for everyday humans to make the world a better place?
Empathy. I totally believe that the second that you're able to tap into that empathic side of yourself, you'll understand that there's a reason that someone's delayed delivery. Ask them about it. Understand, like, is there an issue there? Empathy in terms of understanding customer centricity, understanding leadership, understanding all the complications that life has to bring. I think that we can become a very isolated persona, especially when you're working in that corporate environment and there's a lot of heavy pressure. Have you not delivered because, like, you're messing up on your side? Have you not delivered because I haven't explained it to you correctly? Have you not delivered because there's actually something really hectic going on in your life and we need understanding? So I think that empathy is key to just living a more fulfilled and happy and productive life all round.
Awesome. Can we make money and build a better world, or the two unique opposites?
I totally think that they're an absolute mandatory. I think that financial incentive is an incentive to get things done. And I don't think that people should shy away from the fact that if they're able to create value and create impact, that they shouldn't have that reward. I think that in instances where there isn't that financial incentive attached to it, people may not take it as seriously as what they do when there is a financial incentive attached to it. So I don't think that people should be shy around saying that they're building something of great value and impact, and it's a revenue generating opportunity.
Outstanding. You've got multiple interests. We've established that. Layers like an onion or a potato bake. I'm not sure which. You've got lots of responsibilities and you keep those going. How do you stay ahead of trends and current topics? Where do you self-educate?
So that's very interesting. I've just finished up a certificate with NYU in entrepreneurship. Okay. And I've actually just kicked off with another certificate with UCT on blockchain and crypto assets. Wow. So I take education very seriously. So Tuesday nights and Wednesday nights, you'll see me at my screens consuming content and making sure that I'm up to date. And I think that I speak with a lot of interesting people. So connecting with people is a very important thing, and that's where I tend to find a lot of information that's not even necessarily available, that's sitting online, but more real stuff with people that are around you doing these things, which I'm very fortunate to be in that position to have access to people like that.
Wow. One of the business leaders we interviewed on this show said he gets lots of sponsorship requests and he turns them all down, but he has never had a request for half an hour on advising them on their business. And it seems that you've taken that, you just speak to people and you just get advice from them. That's awesome. If Absolutely. I paid for dinner with one current business leader or leader in the world, who would it be and where would you eat?
You're going to need to repeat that one for me.
If I paid for dinner with a leader, either a global leader or business leader, who would it be and where would you eat?
It would probably be with someone like what's his name? The CEO of Ethereum.
Oh wow! Okay.
Totally, I would definitely use him as a form of payment, and I would eat in the metaverse. I think that's I mean, we're better to play around and have a meal than in the metaverse.
Wow. Okay, that's a first for me. That is very cool. If you had your youngest team member, how would they describe your leadership style, and what would you think they are missing because they don't have experience?
Okay, so my youngest team member would probably describe my leadership style as, well, I would hope that they would see it as catalytic, so leading through vision. I'm very big on getting people enthusiastic and sharing the same vision as I am. And the second part of that was?
And what would you say they're missing just because they're a little bit young?
What is it that they would be missing is I don't know. I don't know if they would necessarily be missing anything. They just are as they are.
I like that. You don't have to carry on. That's a tough question. That's a tough question. I'm going to ask you a few more. We are coming to time when airtime runs out in Cape Town. I know you're on your phone, and I want to thank you for that.
Sure.
What is your best technology productivity hack?
Oh wow, definitely the utilization of Trello. I don't know if you've ever come across David Allen's Getting Things Done. So I'm not the most structured of individuals, and my husband said, "Yeah, read this," and I thought that was the most phenomenal way to assist in helping to structure me. Okay. When you have a whole bunch of to do items that are just flowing in through your brain, just stick them in one single list, and in the morning just understand what are your priorities for the day. And I don't necessarily do that every day, but as when I am sitting in a good productive space, I find that I'm using that.
Awesome. Then I'm going to ask you two more questions.
Sure.
Actually, I'm going to ask you three, but the third one is a bit I don't know, silly. What do you wish your younger self knew about your current profession?
I wish that my younger self knew how important it was to believe in myself more.
Okay.
I totally wish that my younger self understood that I needed to believe in myself more. I found that a lot of people around me were prompting me and pushing me to say, there's more. And there was a little bit of inertia in terms of taking that step forward. As an example, there was the head of leadership development at F&B, and she walked past my desk the one day and she said to me, what are what are you doing here? And I looked at it and I meant like in the desk, like at F&B, like, what do you mean? She says, this is not the role for you. And we went through some coaching conversations, and she said, what is it that you want to do? And I said, I don't know. Like, I'm confused. I'm a bit stuck. She said to me something very interesting. She said to me, what do you think your weakest capability is? And I said, numbers. She said, great, go do numbers. And I said, no, it's my weakest. She said, go do numbers. She said, the second that you can complete tasks relating to numbers, everything else becomes simple. Once you've been able to conquer that fear in numbers, you're all set. So I went off and I did strategic analytics for 3 years. And it was certainly a strange space to be amongst, heavy quants and actuaries. I was towards the bottom end of the spectrum. I was definitely not their top achiever, but everything between that has become a hell of a lot easier because I was able to trust myself a little bit more.
Outstanding. That is such a good mentor. That is a really good one. My second last question. If you weren't on your phone now, would I see a song being played, or is it a podcast that you're currently listening to, and what is it? It would probably be YouTube videos. Okay. Well, actually, it would be it would be more academic stuff, just trying to make sure that I get through the requirements of academia before I look at more leisurely related stuff. So it would be my academic stuff. And in our last minute, in summary, Stacey, what is your wish for 2022? I think that my wish for 2022 is just to take even bigger leaps. Wow. So I think that life has given us this opportunity where everything is new. The way that we're working is new. The places that we can work is new. The technology that we're engaging with is new. The frames of reference and the paradigms of the things and possibilities that can be is all brand new. Wow. So I think we're in a mind-blowing space, and I hope that I'm able to leverage that and embrace all the opportunities that come our collective ways. Wow, that is such a lovely way to end our time together, Stacey. I think you've had a couple of moments that I've had to reassess how I've looked at this interview and who you are and the role that you play, and I want to thank you for that. I love your passion for our city and our country, and I wish you safe travels as you and your husband carry on this work from anywhere trend. And F&B is lucky to have you, and so is Wits. Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Oh, it's a pleasure. I hope we get to meet you again. And from my side, Daniel Robus, I want to thank you for spending a Friday morning with me. When you listen to this episode, I hope the weather's as good as it is today for us. From me, goodbye. Thank you so much. Appreciate that, Dan.